Welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about MayaMuscle. In the last video, we talked about simple influence objects, which are often used for game characters. We'll investigate MayaMuscle in this particular video. Just very quickly, it's not required for your class project. However, it's a lot of fun to play with, and you could get some really great results. There are several ways to get started. You can go ahead and select the joints that you want to use to create your muscle. You've got an open shelf here with lots and lots of tools in there. If you hover over, you get a flyout of what that particular icon does. But let me go ahead and start you with a drop down, deform. You can go ahead and you've got MayaMuscle in here as a category of tools. There it is. Okay. And when you get the flyout, you can go ahead and just click on the bar at the top to release your window. Now, when you have the the bones selected, you can come in here to muscle bones, flyout, convert surface to muscle bones, or you could use a simple muscle. We'll go ahead and jumpstart you in the muscle builder here. So with my joint selected, I'm clicking on simple muscle builder, and here you have a basic pop-up of the UI that's available for that. I've got my shoulder joint selected. I'm going to go ahead and load that into Object 1 through the arrow keys here, selecting my second joint as my second attachment point. I'm going to go ahead and load that in, attach Object 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and look over my selections just very quickly. We're going to go with the defaults to start with and build that muscle. Build update is right here at the bottom here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that just a little bit better. These muscles have 2 points of reference. You've got attachment point, and you can move those around so that they're better placed for that particular deformation. So for example, the attachment point for the lower bicep is actually fairly far down on the lower arm bone. So I'm actually going to put the attachment point down there. As is the attachment point for the upper part of the bicep is fairly deep. I'm going to play that up just a little bit toward the first joint, just for safety's sake. Also going to make sure that you're tumbling around your model. We are working in 3D. Alright, so that's best placement for the attachment points. However, this is not the placement of the muscle that I want. So I can go to the second tab here and access the splines that are going to actually control the positioning and the shape of my muscle. So I'm going to grab that center one and place it toward the outer surface of the front of the arm. I can also control key down, grab the second 2 to move those out, and I can even grab them in the interface here if I want to. I'm going to grab that second 2, which allows me to select those, and I'm going to move those out slightly so that the bulge is on one side of the arm as it should be. Alright, checking that in the 3 dimensions. I want to make sure that that muscle is still set well within my mesh, and now I'm going to go ahead and put my final selections in place. I'm going to go to the Finalize tab here. And what that's going to do is convert my object with the settings to a muscle object. At this point, I can also create the muscle for the other side there. So I'm going to go ahead and convert that muscle. It's going to ask me to name that muscle, and I'm just going to simply name it bicep for the time being, and underscore here. Alright, so now it generates, it says a muscle or spline with the given name bicep already exists, so please choose a different name. You can say OK and rename those at this time. And you can go ahead and rename those in the attribute editor or the outliner. Go ahead and close this box. Okay, all of that out of the way there, and you can go ahead and see the muscle objects in the outliner here. What I want to do now is test the functionality of this bicep, and so I'm going to select my IK, which is driving the bones it's attached to, and simply pull that out. And you can see by doing that, it's going to allow that muscle to bulge forward. Okay? Alright, so at this point, I may choose to adjust the position of my lower attachment point. Pull that up just a little bit more so it's not bulging too much. So I can go ahead and do that adjustment here and continue to test that to make sure that's what I want. Okay, and then actually apply that muscle object as an influence object, such as we did in the last tutorial. Alright, now you can imagine how much fun that's going to be for you to flesh out your character, if you will, to create the automated muscle deformation that will happen when you are keyframing your poses for your character. Thank you for joining me for MayaMuscle, and I look forward to the next series where we're going to be talking about rigging for the face. Thank you for joining me today.